Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. I was at the new studio today painting.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Paint your nails or what?
I was painting the town red because I was partying so hard, thinking about how much fun we're gonna have in that studio. No, I was painting one of the sound dampening walls.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do all the walls black, but we'll have like some backlighting. We'll have some basically an entertainment center you'd see in a living room, but it's gonna be like our backdrop. We're gonna have a big television monitor. Bunch of I got my signed Bo Jackson helmet that's gonna be there. My signed Marshawn Lynch football that's gonna be there. I got other as you can see behind me if you're on YouTube. I got obviously all kinds of Raider knickknacks that just kind of sit in my office unseen. Now they're gonna finally be shown. We're creeping up. We're creeping up. I think before the end of the year we'll be able to do a show there.
Nice.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
We should do a New Year's Eve extravaganza.
Just a New Year's Eve party. Just you and me getting hammered in a studio with Raiders fans online.
I mean, doesn't sound
like the losers we are.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea.
So if you got any sweet Raiders knickknacks that you want to put up in the studio, let me know.
Yeah, I got a signed Howie Long jersey.
Beautiful. That's a big one too. Is it framed? No,
it's not framed. I haven't even took it out of the bag yet. I want to get it framed. Put a box frame.
I gotta put the casing around the ball and helmet. They're just sitting, which is super stupid of me to have those awesome relics just sitting just barely to my right out in the open with a 4-year-old that loves to run around my house with magic markers.
Yeah, she does like the markers.
I can see her trying to copy Beast Mode's signature on the ball.
I can see her trying to color the white part in. Just let me color this.
She tries to play with it, which half of me is happy and proud, and the other half is you got sticky fingers. Get away.
Yeah, there's always something on those fingers.
Always something disgusting. So our offense is humming since Josh McDaniels was kicked to the curb. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Weeks 1 through 8 during Josh McDaniels' 8-game tenure, the Raiders were putting up 15.75 points per game. They went 3-5, and that would be 30th in the league.
Damn.
Third worst. From offensive guru, with Davante Adams, with Hunter Renfrow, with Jacoby Myers, with Michael Mayer, with Josh Jacobs, with the best kicker in football, in the AFC at least. Still, third worst. And his own hand-picked $33 million quarterback, right? Weeks 9 through 10, without Josh McDaniels, Bo Hardegree, Aidan O'Connell, 23 points per game. That will put us 14th. That will put us above average in points per game, 2-0. And we're playing the Giants, which is an average to above average defense, middle of the road, but maybe
they had been playing very well before they played us.
Before us, right? And then this last game, they got trounced, right? But, not a slouchy defense by any means. And then the Jets, one of the best defenses in football.
Yeah.
We're 2-0, and we'd be 14th in points per game. I've narrowed it down to, and normally when that happens, right? When there's a coaching change and a quarterback change, you think, oh, the quarterback made the difference. That's kind of oh, you switched quarterbacks. That's what did it. That's the instant reaction to that. Not so. This kind of surprised me. Not shocked me, but surprised me. Jimmy Garoppolo this season, statistically, is better than Favre in basically every single category. His completion percentage, 2 points better than Aidan O'Connell. His average, 7.2 to O'Connell's 6.5. His touchdown to interception ratio is better. His rating, 1.5 points better. And he's taken less sacks per game than Favre. So not crazy better. I'm talking 1 or 2 percentages in each category, but you're thinking, wow, this offense just did a 180 once they switched quarterbacks. It must be because of quarterback play. Not so. Giant misconception. Yeah. And we've narrowed it down, Soto, to 3 primary reasons why this offense turned around. And we haven't discussed order. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll leave that up to you guys in the comment section. But it's basically 3 reasons why this offense has turned around and this offense has been able to fix what Josh McDaniels broke. What do you think is number 1?
Coach Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Bo. Coach Bo. Say what you want to say about Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels.
We have.
Yeah.
And we will.
he is a very good offensive coordinator. Case in point, we're still using his system that he implemented, but I think the things that were kind of like
all the harshest critics of Josh McDaniels, I don't think I've heard one person say he doesn't understand X's and O's of football. I don't. All the harshest critics, not one person has said, "Oh, he's such a dumbass. He doesn't know that part of
what he's
football."
doing." No. So the offense that's there, it's a good offense, right? Mm-hmm. Where Coach Bo comes into play is the human element.
Yeah.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. What's the disconnect between the conversations between Josh McDaniels and Davante Adams and what we see on the field?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the difference is Coach Bo is not coaching with his ego. I don't know how many times I said it, like every single week. Use more motion. Disguise your plays with personnel groupings and formations and things like that. Everything that Coach Bo is doing is what Josh McDaniels didn't want to do because of his ego. Mm-hmm. So it was the ego of Josh McDaniels that tanked this offense. And towards the end, the players got tired of it. They got sick of it. Like, dude, you're not doing these things that we're telling you to do, and it's not working. And you just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again and blame us when we're telling you to do something different. Mm-hmm. So the Coach Bo going in there with the same system, but maybe, flashing it up. We didn't see 5 wide with Josh McDaniels. Yeah. We didn't see the motion that we're seeing now with Josh McDaniels. We didn't see the personnel groupings. We didn't see the lineup decisions, right? As a sidebar, I was thinking about this actually just randomly the other day. What do you think the final kill shot was? Like the final, Josh McDaniels, they're 3-5, 15 points per game. They're terrible. They've lost the locker room. So he's on the ground. He's been shot, stabbed, kicked, punched.
Bleeding
He's still
out.
alive. He's still alive.
He's got a pulse.
What's the kill shot where you walk up and pop? You just pop him right between. What was the kill shot, do you think?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what I think.
Tell me what you think.
After the Bears game, when he was asked why he didn't play Aidan O'Connell sooner, and he says, it's not the preseason, which was super disrespectful and very dismissive to Aidan O'Connell. Mm-hmm. Mark Davis is listening to all this, right? He's hearing all this stuff. Then he's talking to the players, and the players are like, oh, yeah, Aidan O'Connell should play. He's a better player.
Yeah.
So everyone's telling him that he's the better player, but then you have egomaniac Josh McDaniels like, oh, well, he only did well because it was the preseason. He's playing against scrubs. He's really not that good.
That was a
kill shot.
I think it was ego, and it was also him politicking. Where he's like, hey, Mark Davis, I know I asked for $33 million of your dollars to bring this guy in, and then now we're going to replace him with a 4th-round rookie that played at Purdue. Like,
there's still a way you can spin that if you're not an egomaniac. Hey, look, I understand that we paid a lot of money to this guy, and he's doing good. We need to do better around him, but he's doing good. But man, did I have an eye for this guy. We traded up to get this guy.
Yeah,
we wanted to get this guy, and this guy is performing way better than we thought. We should give him a chance. There's a way you can spin it, but get to back to your first question.
Doesn't change the checkbook for Mark Davis. That's
true.
Going to nowhere.
I don't think he really much cares about that. He just wants to win, right? He showed it $85 million. It's just like, here, get out of here, guys.
I think the ego and politicking play off each other. I think,
for sure.
They're 2 emotions that affect each other the same.
It stopped Josh McDaniels from doing the things that Coach Bo is doing. Mm-hmm. Coach Bo is now going to Josh Jacobs. What runs do you like?
Yeah.
Going to the offensive line. What runs do you guys like to block for? Mm. And that's the difference in the team is the play of Josh Jacobs. I was saying it the entire season. teams are packing the middle against Jimmy Garoppolo. They're packing the middle against Josh Jacobs. It's up to Josh McDaniels to unlock the middle of the field.
It's the double-edged sword, right? If you pack the box, you take away the passes of Jimmy Garoppolo and you take away Josh Jacobs.
Coach Bo has unlocked the middle of the field.
Yeah.
He's done it.
So your number one led to what might be the number one, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs,
chill. He's screaming for Josh Jacobs too.
Oh, I can see he's about ready to jump off the cliff thinking about Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels wish he had as many lives as your cats. So Josh Jacobs in weeks 1 through 8. He had 3 touchdowns. Getting a pretty decent amount of carries. He had 133 carries in 8 games. That's a hefty load. He had 3 touchdowns, 3.1 yards per carry, 133 carries, 408 yards, and 3.5 receptions per game. Josh Jacobs in weeks 9 and 10, again, against 2 stout defenses, a pretty good defense in the Giants and a fantastic defense with the Jets. 4 yards per carry, almost an entire, a little over 4 yards per carry, almost an entire yard more per carry. He had 53 carries in 2 games. He had only 3 times that in 8 games. 214 yards. That's half as many in 2 games as he had in 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now he only had 2 receptions. He only had 1 reception per game. So his passing, he hasn't been as much part of the passing game, which maybe something
doesn't need to be because he
doesn't need to be, but
not checked out as much because Favre's got the ball to the right position.
I mean, he should be because he's such a weapon out of the backfield, but whatever. He's running the ball well. And this is the big thing. Remember last season, it took Josh McDaniels 4 games to do what everyone in Raider Nation knew we should do in 2.
Yeah.
Run the ball. Give Josh Jacobs the ball. He's the best part of our offense. Weirdly, last season, our offense was a terrible pass blocking, but started becoming a pretty good run blocking team, right? It's like, it's a no-brainer. Guys, use Josh Jacobs. He's in a contract year. You're planning on getting rid of him anyway. You didn't give him the 5th year. Run him into the ground. And they did. It took Josh McDaniels leaving for him to really become a ball carrier. He had 26 carries against the Giants in week 9, 27 carries against the Jets. That's both the most ever in the season. He never had 26 carries all season, never had 27 carries all season. Now, he's 3rd in rushing, even after a terrible start to the season. Remember maybe the top 3 storylines for the Raiders is what happened to Josh Jacobs. He was the rushing leader last season, and now he can't get over 100 yards. He's only got a tiny handful of touchdowns. What's wrong? Why can't he get going? He's at 622 yards now. He's 3 yards behind Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey's crushing it. But other than Christian McCaffrey, he's
Christian
right
McCaffrey
there.
Also missed the game too.
Right. That's Christian McCaffrey in the Niners, right? He was having an NFL MVP type season, right? So outside of an NFL MVP type season with maybe the best running back in football, with one of the best offensive schemes in football, in a scheme that was designed to get Christian McCaffrey an offensive player of the year type season, Josh Jacobs is basically the best. All because Bo did the no-brainer that we were all screaming about last season. Give Josh Jacobs the rock. You've got a rookie quarterback. He doesn't fumble. I mean, last game was a bad example, but that's a rare aberration. He really doesn't fumble. He's a great pass blocker. He's the heart and soul of the team, AP keeps saying. Give the guy the rock. And they've given him the ball 53 times in 2 games. And it's led to 2-0, 23 points per game, and you're taking pressure off your rookie 4th-round quarterback.
You're also controlling the ball, too. You're controlling the time of possession. You're not having your defense out there getting tired, so they're able to play at a high level throughout the entire game. So Josh McDaniels wanted to run the ball. It's just he was so stubborn that he wasn't having the success to be able to do it throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, Josh Jacobs only had 16.5 carries per game the first 8 games.
Mm.
Had the run game been working better, he would have had more opportunity. So it's just, again, it was where we're coming back to the same thing. It's the ego of Josh McDaniels to not change, to not adjust, to say, well, the play is good enough. You just have to run it better and not give yourself an opportunity to tilt the percentages in your favor by, design, by formation and personnel grouping. And that's what killed the running game. It wasn't Josh Jacobs not doing well. It was, the defense pretty much knowing what we were doing, calling on our plays.
Yeah, and again, running into loaded boxes because you've got Jimmy G there. All you got to do is take away the center, the middle of the field. And so now, like, having Aidan O'Connell does open, he is more dangerous in places Jimmy G isn't, which helps Josh Jacobs. And like you said, not just adjustments, but it was like a focus. Like we've really only ran, like, the core of it's like 2 different zone runs, which is basically like the core of what we do, and then play action off of it, and then like some jet sweeps and some reverses off of it, right? I mean, that's what you do, right? That's also not just Bo being like, here's a cool play design. It's having the foresight to do, we're going to do A, B, and C, and that's going to open up D, E, and F. And then, all right, A and B worked, C didn't. So we're going to do G to open up H, I, J. The halftime adjustments against the Jets game where they're like, yeah, they're stout inside. Why are we running right at Quinn Williams? Let's go outside. Let's start running off tackles. Let's do little pop passes out to this, little screens outside, like things like that. Like, hey, let's avoid this awesome, heart of this Jets defense. So it's listening to the players. It's adjusting when needed to, pregame, adjusting mid-game, which we didn't see out of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, it's complementary play calling is what it is. I think Josh McDaniels just threw plays out there, and he had a plan, but again, like I keep going back to the same thing, but the whole jet sweep with Tucker, he never faked it once. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you see the action, what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. And we've had tons of fakes, and we guys that are moving in that in motion that you would normally see a jet sweep off of, and they ended up either blocking for Josh Jacobs or going out for a pass. So it's just complimentary play calling, man. It's just smart play calling, and it is Josh McDaniels' system. It's his plays, his verbiage, his everything. I think it's I think Coach Bo kind of like lucked into something pretty nice because he had from all accounts, an offensive genius, right? As far as play calling goes, X's and O's, right? Mm-hmm. And Coach Bo seems to be a little bit more Willies and Joes,
not
right?
Play calling, play design.
Play design. Play design. Yeah. So Josh, you take Josh McDaniels' play design, his X's and O's, and you take Coach Bo's Willies and Joes, right? Like how he connects with the people and the players, and the players make plays. The guys have said it after the last few games. The players make plays. Focus on the players, not on the plays. And it's plain as day, man. They're saying it without saying it.
Bo Hardegree is like the stereotypical looking offensive coordinator. Young, kind of like nerdy and like scruffy, quiet. You know what I mean? Not like he's not going to charm you or even like motivate you. Looks like he doesn't do his hair in the morning. He's like
shave his head. Did he shave head shaved?
Does he?
I think so.
Maybe it's one of those shaves where he's got like a big cowlick and like he doesn't like line up like the sides and stuff. He just like does it himself. You know what I mean? Like every other week. He looks like one of the. You know what I'm saying though? He just like feels like he just looks and smells like an offensive coordinator in 2023. Young dude, scruffy, and it's 2-0.
It's working.
And the number 3 thing, and it's what's affecting the defense, special team, morale, offense, everything. I think it's also just the Antonio Pierce factor. I think we can't ignore what's been the primary storyline of him coming around. Is everyone's happy, everyone's juiced. And we're talking about how Bo is taking advice from the players. That comes from the top, right? That was AP's not prerogative, but
directive.
It was his. Yeah, exactly. That was the executive order from the top. Is we're going to listen to you guys. We're going to be a players type coaching staff. And that's how we get the best out of you guys, which is the way to go when you've got superstars, right? If it was if we didn't have Davante, Jacobs, Maxx, Jacoby, like veteran, Colton, like veteran good guys, and it was super young, maybe you got to put your thumb on them a little bit more, right? Maybe you got to be like, look, y'all haven't earned your stripes. We'll listen, but we're in charge. When you got Davante, Maxx, Josh, etc., you're like, all right, guys, like, What do you think? Davante, you've been part of some of the best offenses in football. What worked, what didn't? Josh, you single-handedly became the last season's rushing leader with 900 yards after contact. It wasn't my schemes that got you there. It was you. You tell me how we can help. So I guess those three.
Exactly. Yeah, it's listening to the right guys. It's all well and good. Like it's great to be a player coach and all that stuff. But if you have the right players, if you have like a lot of young guys, or maybe some of the leaders that don't want to step up or whatever, veterans that don't want to step up. They just I'm a quiet guy. I just want to play, right?
Yeah.
But then like you have them on both sides of the ball. You have leaders on the offensive line. You have Colton Miller. You have Illuminor from all accounts is a guy that's stepping up. You have Josh Jacobs. You have Davante Adams. On the defensive side, you have a guy on each level. You have Maxx Crosby. You have Robert Spillane. And although he hasn't been playing all that great, Marcus Peters is out there in the secondary, a guy that people listen to, guy that he's made plays in the league. So, it's a different thing from the booth to the field, and from like the sideline onto the actual playing field itself. So yeah, you want to ask the players who are executing the plays, which ones do you execute the best? Also,
imagine Bo Hardegree like coming down on Davante Adams. It's like, no, you listen to me, Davante. I didn't even see the field at Tennessee. I'm 39 years old. I just been riding Adam Gase's coattails to being quarterback coach for Josh McDaniels, a guy no one wants to play for Josh McDaniels. No one wants to coach for Josh McDaniels. I'm amazed we got Patrick Graham. Like, no one wants to be around that guy. Like, he was here because probably no one else can take the job. And he's going to be like, hey, Davante, I'm in charge. I would love to be a fly on a wall if you try to do that to Davante. Like, you got to take his advice. Come on.
You definitely do. And the thing is he did the right thing. He walked up to Davante and he's like, hey, man, what do you want? Like, where do you want the ball? Tell me what you want. Tell me how you want to start.
And then Davante's going to be like, I'll tell you, but I need you to carry my books. You're going to take my pocket sleeve out of my pocket. You're going to hold on to that, and you're going to follow me around.
No, he's not his prison, B. I almost said it.
Almost. I wanted to hit the button. If Davante wanted Bo to be his prison B, he would. He has that kind of
Davante's that's not even
It's not a style, but I'm saying he has the ability to. Maybe not the desire, but he definitely does.
What's up with star players dancing after beating the Jets?
New York.
Marshawn Lynch did it. Right?
Is that when he did that like real famous sideline dance that everyone gets hard on for? Hards on. Is it hard on for? Hard ons for?
Hard ons for, yeah.
Hard ons for. The I was a history major in college, and we were doing European history, and it was like the Knights Templar, and everyone said, because I went to a state college, so we're all stupid. We all put Knight Templars, but it's actually Knights Templar. You put the plural at the front end, not the back end. We were all stupid. So the teacher, like halfway through the class, like halfway through the semester, had to be like, guys, I don't want to be your grammar coach. And it's really not that big of a deal. But please, if you guys are gonna graduate with history degrees, know that it's Knights Templar, please, for my sake. So it doesn't go on me. Product of the California education system, right here, RJ and Soto.
Good old San Francisco State.
Well, speaking of New York, it was a great win for the Raiders, beating such a tough defense. And it was on primetime, which was great. A little bit of an ugly game, but beautiful for us Raider fans. An exciting game, right? Down to the wire, 4 points at the end. 2 Hail Marys could have won it for the Jets. One of Zach Wilson's best games in his career. Didn't have any touchdowns, but, moved the ball around a little bit. Spillane became a star. Josh Jacobs went over 100 yards. Fun game. Not so fun for a certain New York radio host, Joe Benigno. I have yet to be able to pronounce it correctly, but he was a radio host for WFAN for years, and he does a weekly spot on WFAN, And I want you guys to hear it. And I want you to know if your BS meter is starting to go off.
And you could call me just because I'm a Jet fan, whatever you want to call me, okay? Let's be honest about this. You're telling me the Raiders last night, 3 penalties the whole game? You're telling me the Raiders, with the pressure the Jets put on, had 1 holding penalty all night? Come on. And watching this freaking game, okay? Watching this game, can they kiss Antonio Pierce's rear end any more than it was like watching a Raider infomercial. You know what? I'm telling you, bro. And last night, and I'm telling you this too, call me crazy. Or you could call me crazy, okay? The league wanted the Raiders to win this game last night. All right? I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying it.
Why?
Because it's the Raiders. It's the Raider way. Oh my God. Look at it's like the old days. Where's Al Davis? I'm surprised there wasn't an AI of Al Davis last night.
Yeah.
First off, I do got to say, as a 15-year radio host, that was an A+ rant as far as just like emotion. It's like, okay, I was entertained listening to it. If I'm listening to the radio and I pull into my driveway and I'm hearing that rant, I'm going to let the car idle and finish the rant before I turn it off. I'll admit that. And then when it's over, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I have to call in and blow up on this douche.
Yeah.
How many? I would have a clipboard just like fact checking every piece of crap statement that he said in that 53 seconds right there, Soto.
I mean, we're not very penalized anyway. We're not a very penalized team.
We are 4th in penalties this season. Shocking. I mean, and we were actually really good under Josh McDaniels penalty wise this season. We got even better under AP, but shockingly, that was one of the positives Josh McDaniels did was the most penalized team historically in football. And we were in the top 10 least penalized. And now we're currently 4th. Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, there's that. And I mean, he's not taking into account the poor play in the red zone. You're like, does
that sound like a guy who's taking account of poor play in the red zone?
That's what I'm saying.
Does sound like a dude who's going over the all-22 and saying, "Oh, that was a hold. That should have been a PI."
He's telling me that the refs called Zach Wilson out of bounds, but he was in bounds. Like, no, he stepped out of bounds. Like, what do you want to do? That took your touchdown away.
Do we want to go over the 10, 15, 20 non-holding calls against Maxx Crosby, not just against the Jets, but every single game? You want to bring that up?
Look,
something you want to discuss?
This is what people that don't want to face reality do, is they reach for random BS. And that's what this guy's doing. He's reaching for random BS.
I understand emotionally every fan of the other 31 teams in the NFL wants to think that the refs aren't on their side. I understand the desire to want that.
There's no way the Chiefs feel that way.
I guarantee there's Chiefs fans that want to blame the refs for losses because it's just the easiest scapegoat. They're just as delusional as this guy, but it's like the easy scapegoat. At least have the decency. At least save face a little bit to not use that excuse against the Raiders. It is well documented. The most penalized team in the Super Bowl era. We had the stat up a year or two ago. I was looking for that fact, but it was like, the second most penalized team since the Super Bowl had like 5,400 penalties, and the Raiders had almost 7,000. Yeah. Like it was like number 2, 5,430. Number 3, 5,412. Number 4, 4,918. And then Raiders is like 7,082. Just like
terrible.
And there's another step. The least penalized team in the league since 2007. Whoever is playing against the Raiders. Who's ever playing against the Raiders. Least penalized team in football. And he wants to go and say, the NFL was cheating by having the refs win the game for the Raiders. Okay.
Again, they're reaching, man. Like they can't. They don't want to take a look at the obvious. Right, because for whatever reason, maybe Zach Wilson has a sex tape on Robert Saleh or something where he won't bench him. He won't bench him, and that's the issue. Even though he had a better game, they were still really bad in the red zone.
Zach Wilson was probably banging someone on the team's mom and brought in Robert Saleh to like watch. and just like jerk off in the corner. He's like, hey, there's a secret camera.
That's a distinct possibility.
I think that's the most possible answer. I think the most obvious. Here's the other part too. No one has receipts about how the league feels about the Raiders like the Raiders. We've got the receipts, dog. From Tuck Rule to Pete Rozelle and Al Davis. They did a whole 30 for 30 on how a commissioner hated an owner. A whole 30 for 30 on that. And that's just historically. And then you go into recently, not letting us move to Carson, releasing those Jon Gruden emails. There's 650,000 emails out there, and they released like 5 of them, and they were just Gruden's. Like, okay, like those just accidentally came out. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's again, prisoner of the moment, doesn't want to, put the blame on the team because God forbid you actually blame your team for playing poorly or being outplayed by a team that you felt you were so superior to. Just, let me just find an excuse, a way to save my own ego.
Yeah. In Raider news, every single time a defensive player is released from a team, I think, oh man, the Raiders should pick that guy up. A linebacker, a defensive lineman, corner, say whoever. I'm just like, oh, the Raiders should pick him up. The Raiders, and we never do. We never do. It's never like a guy that you're like, we always pick up guys that are just kind of floating around. Sometimes they work out, right? Like we'll get to Robert Spillane here in a minute. But normally we never get him. When the Pats released Jack Jones, I was like, ooh, that'd be great. We'll never get him though. We'll never get him. Lo and behold, we did. Cornerback for the Pats. He's a 4th-round pick. He's in his second year, I believe. Yeah, 22 4th-round picks was his second season. He had a pretty good rookie year for a 4th-round cornerback. And we got him. So he played at Long Beach State under Antonio Pierce, played at Arizona, but SC first, as you're aware. Screwed up. Had to go play junior JUCO for a little bit.
Yeah.
Came back to Arizona State under Antonio Pierce, got drafted by the Patriots. So it's like at first you're like, okay, why are we still picking up? Like, why are we still being Patriots West? Why are we still picking up like random Patriots? Not because he was a Patriot. It's because he was a Jackrabbit and a Sun Devil under Antonio Pierce.
For sure, man. This is the prototypical old school Raider move. You get a guy that's got some talent. Maybe didn't cut it another place for some disciplinary reasons. I mean, I'm not trying to say it was because he got caught with 2 guns at an airport. Maybe.
Allegedly.
Maybe. No, it was no allegedly. He got caught with that.
He pleaded out. Allegedly.
Yeah, he got that. He got caught with that. Mm-hmm. So this is what
grades issues at USC.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to get in grades issues at USC?
Well, here's the deal.
Don't go to class.
No. Here's the deal. Jack Jones was a victim of that chick from Desperate Housewives and that other chick from Full House, because they like lied and they had this conspiracy thing to get their kids into SC.
Yeah.
And so it was a big old deal. So they actually cracked down on the grades for like a year or 2, right? So that's
for one semester, and that's the semester he gets rocked.
Exactly, dude. He just never showed up to class, and it's like, I mean, you got to do something. You got to at least show up to class. You can't just like never show up. But yeah, he got in trouble, and I mean, he was a good get. I mean, at SC, we're excited to have him there. But kid can play, man. The kid can play, and I think that he feels comfortable with AP. He feels comfortable, and it's like, okay. I'm not saying anything against any military people or any law enforcement, anything like that. I will say from my own experience, and I've partied with a lot of Marines and I've partied with a lot of cops because my cousin's ex-husband was both a Marine and a cop. Mm-hmm. I have never had a good experience. Maybe it was a neutral experience, but I've never had like a really fun time with a Marine or a cop that I wasn't introduced to by somebody that already knew him.
Gotcha. You needed an in.
Yeah, I needed an in to break that wall. I think Jack Jones has that wall, right? And so if AP says, "Hey, man, Patrick Graham, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's the truth. Listen to this guy. He's going to make you the best player you can be." Jack Jones will be like, "That's all I need to hear. I trust you, and you signed for him. So all right, we're good.
I was on a bachelor party with a Marine. It was a bachelor party of a mutual friend of ours. I'll tell you after. And he's a guy that works in not my friend, but this Marine worked in MMA. Pretty stand-up dude. Like every time I talked to him, very Marine-like, right? Mm-hmm. Like on time, got his stuff together. Like had a sense of humor, but wasn't a goofball, you know?
Yeah.
And he's seen some stuff. Like he's one of those guys that like he either went to Afghanistan for too long or not long enough. You know what I mean? Like either like it broke him over there or he didn't get enough of the crazy out of his system. One of those two. And we're in a cab. We're hammered. Right? It's a bachelor party. It's like 3 a.m. And I'm in the middle. One buddy to my left, Marine to my right. Out of nowhere, he takes out a knife, starts carving into the back of the taxi cab passenger seat in front of him, and just mutters, "It's not the deaths with the rifle. It's the knife kills that haunt you." Out of nowhere. We weren't talking about battle. We weren't talking about war. We weren't talking about him being a Marine. Out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God. Some of these guys have seen some stuff, right?
Just like Sonny said, it's like, yeah, you don't hit him a long range with a rifle. You got to get him right up close and bada bing. You get blood all over your Ivy League suit.
So this is Antonio Pierce's biggest challenge as a head coach. And not biggest challenge in the sense that it's the most important or it's going to decide wins and losses the most. It's the biggest challenge because this could be the biggest feather in his cap moving forward and when he starts interviewing with Mark Davis for the head coaching position at the end of the season. The Raiders don't have a great recent history. Traditionally we have, but recently we haven't had a great history about handling whack jobs. Chandler Jones lost his mind as a Raider. Antonio Brown. Under the Steelers, there was kind of whispers that he was a little loony, but not until he came to the Raiders was it a massive issue.
Alden Smith
lost his mind. Henry Ruggs, giant issues. We have not
Arnett.
We have not had a great track record recently of handling players that could go AWOL. This is Antonio Pierce's chance to say, we took a guy that under the Patriots, under Bill Belichick, under the Patriot way, under just do your job, under we're a team, under we're all going to stay together and we're going to work this out, under we've got confidence that we can make these guys produce. He didn't last a season and a half with the Patriots before getting in trouble. If Antonio Pierce can make Jack Jones A, productive, and B, stay out of trouble, that is a giant feather in his cap.
In Vegas, no less.
In Vegas, you have to drive by the strip from the airport to get to where most of the players live, right? You can literally see Dre's from the freeway, right? You're landing from a game on Sunday and you get there at 10, 11, midnight, right? From the plane. You're all jacked up from a win. All the club promoters are hitting you up. All the strippers you visit are hitting you up. All of your side chicks are hitting you up. All your buddies are hitting you up. Hey man, congrats on the win. We're celebrating. We're at Dre's. I got bottle service. Come through, right? If Antonio Pierce can make Jack Jones in that situation with his long history, keep his nose clean and be productive, he can say, not only have I turned my guys around, I've turned around this franchise's reputation the last decade or so of not being able to handle wild players. I can handle wild players. I just took a Patriots reject and got him into church on Sunday or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Also, this may soften Mark Davis's stance on draft day too. Maybe, there's a guy that's got a little past.
Maybe we'd have Jalen Carter right now.
Stop! Don't say it.
Jalen Carter right now.
Well, look, AP's done a lot. He's checked a lot of boxes. He's got a couple of boxes left to check, and he can check them both tomorrow. I mean, this next game, he can check them both the next game. So, what I thought of with AP is things that he has to do to be in serious contention to be the head coach. And he's done most of them. Changed the locker room morale. He's done that. Fixed the product on the field. He's done that. Energized the fan base. He's done that. Come back from adversity. He's done that.
Mm.
He was down against one of the best defenses in the league. Did that. He hasn't won on the road. He hasn't beat a top team yet. I think if he does those two, I think it's a no-brainer from there.
And also, we really need some help in our secondary. We needed it before the season started, and now with Faison and Teamer on IR, Amik, Marcus, and Hobbs all questionable and injured, we needed guys. And so it's just a matter of necessity. It's like, hey, Jack, we need you to get your act together because you're going to see the field right away. Now, I'm thinking Nate will play. Marcus will probably play. Teamer might actually come off of IR.
Meek probably is not going to play.
Meek's,
that was an ugly play.
I mean, hopefully he's just acing these concussion protocol tests because you're going to have to you're not, if you're on the border, they're not going to let you pass. You have to be.
Not with, he was out cold.
Not with that hit. You have to be. The good news is he wasn't transported. He just finished the game on the sideline, which is a good start, but he needs to be Rain Man acing these concussion protocol tests for him to see the field after that hit.
Yeah.
We're going to need Jack Jones.
Because God forbid something happens where he gets his bell rung again. Yeah, the NFL and the media would be all over the Raiders for putting him back on the field so quickly.
Yeah. Another exciting news: Robert Spillane, our little fun secret, AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah,
congratulations for just a random scrap heap player we picked up, a guy that saw little playing time in Pittsburgh, not a whole lot. Now he's our starter. Now I don't want to say Pro Bowl, but he's putting up Pro Bowl-ish numbers.
He's up there in tackles. He's tied for the lead in linebackers and interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Look, I've been saying it I think it's safe to say I was a little bit higher on him than maybe you were. Mm-hmm. Because I did actually watch some film.
I was completely indifferent to him. I'm like, just really another scrappy linebacker.
And
great.
I knew he could play. I saw some flashes that he could play. I think it's just they were putting him he's not super fast. He's not one of those type of fast linebackers like they had with the Steelers. He's not Bush. He's not that. And that was the position he was playing. That's who he was taking over from. Yeah. So he can't play like him, but he can play like Spillane plays. And I think Patrick Graham and Antonio Pierce are giving him a little bit pointers, putting him in positions to be able to play.
Well, he's exactly what we needed. We needed a thumper, right? That's what we signed him to be, a thumper. Even Antonio Pierce will say he was kind of his project, he really wanted him. It's also AP, also politicking a little bit. It's that was my guy. I brought him in, that's my guy, right? Taking a little credit for him, as he should, right? As he should.
Yeah, hey, Spillane was echoing it too.
And you remember that he was famous for that one hit, that goal line hit on Derrick Henry last season. That's the only reason I knew the name was from that one hit, right? But he's turned into a well-rounded linebacker. In 2022, he played in 16 games with the Steelers. 16 games, played in all but one game. 5 starts, and he had career highs in tackles, 77, tackles for loss, 4. In 2023, so far, in just 10 games, 10 starts, 81 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 3 interceptions. He had 1 interception his entire first 5 seasons in the NFL. He has 3 this season, one of them extremely clutch, and it's all career records. He broke all his records last season in the entire season. In just 10 games, he's broken all those records. Now, albeit he has twice as many starts, but he's earned those starts. He is a different player this season. And once again, I know we're just hand jobbing Antonio Pierce today, but he's earned a good reach around AP for what he's done with Robert Spillane.
So one thing that people might not know about Antonio Pierce, or a couple of things, is he wasn't a huge recruit. He went the JUCO route, right?
Yep.
And he was an undrafted free agent rookie. Mm-hmm. So he had to earn everything that he got, and
didn't really get big opportunities until he went to New York.
Yeah,
his 4th season, third or fourth season?
Yeah, something like that. So when he was there in New York, He was with good defense, good defensive minded head coach,
Mhm.
and he learned how to use his brain to put himself in better positions.
Mhm.
And you're seeing Spillane being kind of like that Antonio Pierce clone.
Yeah.
I think maybe Spillane's a little bit more physically gifted than Antonio Pierce was, but he's using the same tips and tricks. He's that no nonsense, fearless leader out there, and that's what we needed. We haven't had that in a long time, and he's
an any given Sunday linebacker.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. He's like a cartoon version of what. Like, look, dude, this photo from Sunday Night Football. For you Potters, he's just like the camera's right in his face, and he's like tongues out, got the
eye black on, like
the face paint all the way down to the fit, just like insane. And he's playing with a surgically repaired hand from like 45 minutes ago that still has its stitches in it. He's an any given Sunday linebacker.
For sure, man. This dude is what we needed, and he's a good complement to Divine Diablo. He's that thumper that will allow Divine Diablo to be more of the cover guy, because he's a safety in college and everything at Virginia Tech, and Divine Diablo actually did a good job getting Zach Wilson off of his first read, because he kind of blocked that read, and it allowed him to throw a little bit later. And I mean, it was a great play by Spillane. So they're playing well together, which is key.
So we're actually going to get to the weekend's breakdown on the midweek pod, which is a nice change of pace. Raiders versus Dolphins Sunday, early window in Miami. It's the one away game sandwiched between back-to-back home games before, back-to-back home games after, and then we end the season on back-to-back away games. But it's the one away game in between, which is what you want to do if you're going East Coast, right? You want it to be a nice little all right, we don't want to be on the road forever if we're going to go all the way to East Coast. And if we are going to the East Coast, we want good weather, which is great. We're in Miami. We talked about at the beginning of the season, like, wow, our away schedule is pretty nice. Like the East Coast, like cold weather games are either early in the season or they're in stadium or they're in domes. We don't have this crazy like back-to-back Eastern Standard Time games. And the Raiders didn't fly out early like planned against Antonio Pierce being like, hey, stay with your families, being that kind of guy. I would say the Dolphins are the third best team we'll play this season behind the Chiefs and Bills. And they're minus 12 favorites. 12-point favorites. This isn't the Texas Tech Raiders versus an SEC team. This is the Las Vegas Raiders versus another NFL team. The Dolphins are 12-point favorites.
The level of disrespect.
Huge spread. Now, this is the thing. We know the story in the Dolphins, right? They're 6-0 versus teams under 500. They score over 24 points per game. They're 0-3 against teams that are 500 or over. And Tua has been sacked at least 3 times in each one of those games. So I know you're doing the math in your head about which one are the Raiders. Neither. We're right in the middle. This is the little litmus test, right? Can we know the Dolphins destroy bad teams and they lose to good teams. How are they going to do against an average team? The odds makers think they'll do pretty well as 12-point favorites.
Yeah, I think what the odds makers are banking on is for the Dolphins to get out to an early lead and force the Raiders to play in a shootout, which is not their game.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is we got to keep it close. There's certain things that they do well that we defend well. Mm-hmm. And this team is all about big chunk plays. Mm-hmm. Dolphins are all about huge chunk plays. And we defend that pretty well. We don't allow a lot of big chunk plays.
So believe it or not, statistically, not matchups, not X's and O's, statistically, the nerds and the nerdery with their nerd calculators, we match up really well against the Dolphins, purely statistically. Like you mentioned, we're tied for 4th in giving up explosive passing plays. We've only given up 22 passes of 20 yards or more, which is great. This is a pretty good team about not giving up big plays. The Raiders defense is only giving up 198 yards per game passing. That's 8th. We're darn good against the pass. We can get to Tua. Maxx Crosby is a game where he can eat. Their offense versus our defense, statistically, are in pretty decent shape. Now, matchups and X's and O's, it gets a little different. We don't have anybody that can contain Tyreek Hill.
Or Jalen Waddle, for that matter.
Or Jalen Waddle, right? They have 2 wide receivers that we don't have a single guy on our defense. It's like, okay, he's got him. Not even close. And then, not only that,
I'm starting to get a headache.
It's going to...
If you're going to talk about running backs, I'm going to get a headache.
The migraine's about to hit.
Ugh.
Take your Tylenol now. Take your Midol for the cramps. Raheem Mostert averages 5.6 yards per carry. He has 11 touchdowns. Devon Achane, he's been injured. He might be back on Sunday. He averages 12 yards per carry. He's at 115 yards per game, and he had 5 touchdowns already. I think in just 3 games. I think he just played 3 games. He's already put up all those insane numbers. He was limited in practice on Wednesday. So even though the passing game is the strength of the Dolphins, if we squint our eyes and just look at numbers, we're like, okay, maybe our passing defense can hold up to Tua and company. You could be blind and see that the Raiders will have their hands full in the run game, even if Achane doesn't come back.
Where are you getting the R from? You say Achane.
Achane.
Yeah.
As we're the Raiders, and I'm saying R.
It's their running attack is gives me a stomach ache thinking about it.
It gives me diarrhea.
Because and it's not just stuff on the outsides either. They have good plays running between the tackles as well, and they know how to get the ball out in space. They know how to create numbers and a player number advantage to attack certain parts of your defense. They know what they're doing. Mike McDaniel is truly an offensive guru. He was the run game coordinator at San Francisco.
Josh McDaniels, when he starts filling out resumes, to take the S out of his last name and to be like, yeah, Mike McDaniel, I'm his cousin. Just like pretend he's a McDaniel and then a McDaniels.
Yeah, dude,
start dressing like a little kid, start like shave his head, start trying to be cool. Like, yeah, Mike McDaniel, I'm his little brother. I'm Josh McDaniel. What? You look like Josh McDaniel. He's got the nose with the glasses and the mustache.
Yeah. Hello, fellow youth.
What movie was that from? This isn't even a question for the comment. I don't remember.
No, it was a commercial. It was
okay. Hello, students.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. He's got the backwards hat and the skateboard.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniel strolling in. It's like, I'm Mike McDaniel. I'm his twin. Josh, hire me.
God.
I'm an offensive guru too.
But that running attack, that could be the difference in the game. People are thinking, you
can't load the box, right? You can't load the box. You can't do it. You got to be like 2 deep, 3. Like you got to have a deep safety. Like you just have to hope Spillane and company can handle it with 6 guys.
This is going to be a time where the coaching staff pulls Maxx Crosby aside and says, look, man, you need to do some stuff that's not on paper, stuff that we don't scheme for. Like you have to wreck this yourself. You have to wreck the line of scrimmage on your own for us to have a chance. And it's true. He just can't get pressure. He can't make players bounce outside because these 2 guys are 2 of the fastest running backs in the league.
Yeah.
So you can't let these guys bounce outside on you and say, okay, well, he did his job and made them, bounce inside. No, he needs to make plays. Mm-hmm. Crosby needs to have a huge game for us to have a chance of stopping this running attack, because this running attack is pretty damn good.
So to keep things from being totally doomy and gloomy, again, we're one of the best teams in football, 4th best at stopping explosive plays, which is what the Dolphins excel at, right? Waddle and Hill, or either one of their great running backs breaking one for 50, right? We're very good at stopping that, which would be a game changer. And again, I know that, the two offenses we've recently played, but the Raiders defense has allowed on just touchdowns on just 3 of the last 35 drives in the last 2 games. Yeah, I get it. It was the Jets and Giants, but still. Blind squirrels find nuts all the time, just not against the Raiders recently. So there's that. And then on the flip side, how do you stop a really explosive offense that scores all the time? You keep them the hell off the field. We figured out feed Josh Jacobs, control the rock, control the clock, keep the turnovers low, and try to keep this from being a shootout as well as you possibly can. Because also the Dolphins have great pass rushers. They got like 4 dudes with like 5 sacks each or more. Like it's not like just trying to stop, just Joey Bosa, just trying to stop Maxx Crosby. Like they got like 4 dudes that can get to you to get to that.
Cameron Wilkins, Phillips, like they got guys, dude. They got
now their DBs aren't great. Jalen Ramsey's having a real off season. But like keeping this from being a shootout and trying to keep it from being like, all right, 8. Now, I think we're going to learn a lot of things about this team, right? It's like we talked about on the post-game show for the Jets game. When Antonio Pierce took over and it was the Giants, it was like, okay, terrible offense at home. Let's see what you got. And it was a blowout. Awesome. Pass that test. Next game, Sunday Night Football, bright lights. The honeymoon kind of ended a little bit, right? That initial juice you get from watching like Josh McDaniels' assistant packing up pictures of his wife and like playbooks and like his whistle and crap out of his office, and you're all jacked watching that. That kind of fades, right? After a week. Still, beat the Jets, Sunday Night Football, primetime, at home. Great. Now, you're on the road. One of the most explosive offenses in football. Now it's time. Now the ship has landed. Now we're brought back to earth a little bit. Now let's see what Antonio Pierce and company can do. Now let's see what Bo Hardegree can do when he doesn't have a big lead that he doesn't have to worry about being in a shootout. Now there's a really good chance. We're going to say, all right, Aidan, you're going to have to win us this quarter, right? We need 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. We're going to need you to do it. We're going to need this defense to be like, all right, guys, we need we need a turnover. We got to have a turnover. We got to have 3 stops in a row. They've scored touchdowns on 3 straight drives. That has to stop now. This is now like feet to the fire, back against the wall. Antonio Pierce had his honeymoon phase, A+. A+ in the honeymoon phase. Could not have done better as a coach. Now you're 12-point underdogs on the road against one of the most explosive offenses of the last decade. What can you do here? This is the test.
So there's this 3-game stretch that we have coming up, right? So the last 2 games in this game against the Dolphins, each game has presented us a different kind of a different problem, a different problem to solve. Mm-hmm. First one wasn't too big of a problem, but it's getting a little bit harder, right? Kind of like you're playing a video game and you're beating all of the whack little fighters first, and then you have to beat the boss, right?
You beat Glass Joe and Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah,
now
right.
You're fighting the dude with that tiger.
Yeah, the great tiger and a piston Honda. Like you're beating all those guys. Mm. So a team with an okay offense and a kind of a bad offense and an okay defense. A team with a kind of a bad offense and a really good defense. Now a team with kind of an all right defense, but a killer offense, right? Yeah. So now we have to see different game plans, different parts of the team step up. It's going to tell a lot. But every test so far that has been given to Coach AP, he's been able to pass it. Mm-hmm. So what does passing mean? I just think if we keep the game close, even if we don't win, because look, I don't think anyone is out there saying that we're a better team talent-wise than the Dolphins. The Dolphins have been playing this way with the same coaches and the same thing this entire season. We haven't had that much time together to kind of figure out what we want to do. But if we're able to either beat them or keep it really close, it's going to tell a lot about the team and also about the coaching staff to be able to strategize.
Here's the injury report. And again, this is Wednesday's injury report, so very preliminary. Still got multiple days to try to figure this out. 4 players did not participate. Colton Miller still not practicing with that shoulder.
He's going to be out for a while, dude. Shoulders are tough, especially for linemen.
They haven't put him on IR, which is promising. So it's if he doesn't play, that'll be 2 games of the 4. So that's at least that's a glimmer of hope. Dylan Parham is added to that list at guard. So now you've got 2 starting linemen with an issue. Amik Robertson, which we discussed, concussion. Can he get through that protocol? I remember in the first few games of the season, there wasn't a single player that was put on concussion protocol that didn't miss at least 1 game with concussion. I don't know if that's still the case, but I know that for a while there it was.
No, wasn't Davante in concussion protocol? And he played?
Was it concussion protocol or injury?
Sure. I thought it was.
Yeah, maybe.
Look at Van Roten. He's got everything wrong with him. What the hell?
Yeah, Van Roten's hurting biceps, quad, and tricep. He's been lifting too hard.
Arm and leg.
Everyone else is limited. Okay, and then Curtis Bolton at linebacker sick. So that sounds like illness. That sounds like okay. Got the flu bug. Ate the wrong taqueria. Something like that. Got a stomach virus or something.
Well done. That.
Everyone else is still just kind of limited. So
Jakob is back.
Jakob's back, right? Full participation after his concussion. I can't imagine any of these limited guys not playing. Butler, Crosby, Diablo, Hobbs, Peters. Teamer's off IR, so hopefully he can play, which we're going to need him. We'll keep an eye on Colton, Dylan, and Amik. That'll be the tough one. Dolphins, a lot more did not participate. 2 of their wide receivers, not their 2 great ones, but 2 of them. Our boy, Alec Ingold, didn't participate with a foot injury. And then 2 linemen didn't participate. And our chain, again, he's limited. They haven't said one way or the other, like, is he like doubtful or hopeful or whatever to play this week? But it's looking like he might. So that's the injury report. I think we can, at least offensively, I think we can potentially bully the Finns the same way we bully the Jets. That's our chance.
That's
the thing, right?
I don't know that right now. I don't know that right now. Aidan O'Connell can be Purdue Aidan O'Connell.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can be that guy yet. I think we can get there, but I don't think he can be that guy just yet.
12-point favorites, the Dolphins. I actually like the Raiders a lot on that number. I think 12 is way too much.
12 is a lot. A lot of points, huge. Man.
That's a massive number. I really like the Raiders under 12 points. I'll probably put a couple units on that.
Okay.
12's a lot. 12's a lot. You ready to do some what up windbags?
Why, yes, I am.
Turco 7554. The best part of Antonio Pierce, in my opinion, is he was the missing link in our coaching staff and leadership. He perfectly balances all the coaches with his fire and passion. And most importantly, he is a motivator. Love it. Face of this organization, at least till the end of the year. Freaking excited to watch Raider football again. I mean, that's basically the encapsulation of everything Antonio Pierce that we've been talking about in one comment. We're excited to watch Raider football again. Like, it's been exciting to be a Raider fan. Even when we had a couple wins here and there the last couple seasons, it was always nervousness. It was always on the edge of your seat. We had a comment that one of the commentators brought that up perfectly. It's like, this is the most fun I've had in a Raiders fan in years.
Yep.
Fun. Again, it was awesome going to the playoffs 2 seasons ago, 4-game win streak, but that was edge of your seat, biting your nails. Remember when we beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football to open the season? We're just we had such a decompression. We had to go to the bar after. I can't go to sleep. I got to do something.
Yeah.
This has been fun. The last 2 games have been fun. And I'm going to have fun on Sunday, win, lose, or draw. I'm having fun this week, regardless of how the game goes on Sunday.
One of the first things that Coach AP said in his introductory press conference is he wants to get that swag back. Mm-hmm. He wants the team to be proud to play and be a Raider.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that he gets it because Coach AP gets it. He understands what it is. He's rolling up to the game in a freaking Impala. He's got the freaking dual freaking diamond stud earrings. He's wearing the all black Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
If you're a Raider fan, you know what that means. If some dude's wearing all black Air Force Ones, he's about business. He's a menace. You don't want to mess with that guy. And that's what he knows what it is to be a Raider. He understands what it is. And that's what gets the fan base pumped, because we don't have to worry about someone else's view of what this team should be.
And it's the right squad to do that with. Because, let's be honest, there's plenty of people who play for the Raiders are just like, I don't care where I play, just give me the paycheck, or I want to win. The Raiders mystique isn't for everybody. And there's plenty of people that just think it's BS and don't care, players, fans, whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this team, all the stars are Raiders to the soul. Maxx Crosby, Raider tattoo. Josh Jacobs, Raiders tattoo. Davante Adams grew up a Raider.
Marcus Peters.
The stars and veterans of this team are guys that are that they are this, my heart beats with the soul of the Raiders, which is Antonio Pierce is just like, if we didn't have those four guys, may not have resonated with everybody. It's like, okay, look, I'm a football player. Raiders history, that's cool, but that's not what drives me. Our leaders are driven at their core of the Raider way. And AP came in at just the right time with those right guys.
Yeah, man.
Boogie's Mulab 4031. No way you guys barely noticed Mark Davis with the Peso Pluma haircut. Oh, we noticed. Don't you worry. We noticed. We talked about it. Look at this haircut. That is not, it's still weird, but that's not the Mark Davis haircut.
No, that's got a little mullet going. He got a little skullet.
I wonder if the chick, this is a sign that maybe this is getting serious, where the chick is starting to tell a billionaire how to do his hair. You remember when Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, he finally buzzed it. He always had the big, I don't even know the name of it, but he had like a flat top, but backwards, hit it long, but up. And then
that Pharaoh fade.
And you saw over the course of 2 seasons, it got shorter, kind of manicured and shorter and shorter. And then finally he just shaved it and looked clean. He's like, yeah, the wife, you notice, she kept having me do it shorter and shorter. And finally I broke. Yeah. I just did it nice for the wife. Little did you know he was going to have to do a lot more for her to keep her happy later. I think the girlfriend is getting to old MD. Tell him to clean it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop wearing my white jacket though.
No,
I'll cut my hair, but this white, I want that freaking jacket. Looks sick.
Look, even more importantly, still got the fanny pack. White jacket, white on white on white, white fanny pack. He's like, all right, listen here, bitch.
Where, Jar?
I'll cut the hair, but you ain't taking away my fanny pack.
And my conversion.
As God is my witness, you can take my soul, you can take my money, you can even take my hair, but the fanny pack goes nowhere. This is big.
It's such a strong look.
It is. It's a really big deal.
When do you see owners dressed like that? You never see it.
They don't dress like that when they get sent to jail. There's prison photos where they're dressed up better than Mark Davis. It's his version of the tracksuit.
He just needs a pinky ring. He needs the pinky ring.
It's his version. It's his version of the tracksuit.
My dad used to have a pinky ring. I think it was sick.
It's in the Mexican mafia.
No, he had a pinky ring, and it was like it was like flat on the top, and it had this groove design on it. Oh, so sick.
Look, she means all business. She just looks like a girl that's demanding
boots,
better.
Bro.
She looks like a girl that demands her billionaire boyfriend to get his haircut done.
Those boots were made
love
for
is love.
walking.
Love is love. What can I say? Brandon Acevedo, 1353. Raiders, America's team. I feel like it's time for the Cowboys to not relinquish their title as America's team. I think it's time for the commission to strip them of that title. They haven't won in forever. They're a polarizing team. They're not America's team. I will say this, though. I don't feel like the Raiders are America's team.
We're
too much of a rebel. We're too much of an outsider. We're too leather vest and Harley Davidson to be America's team. And also, our entire fan base is Mexicans, black guys. We're the most diverse. Not that
there's a couple of Vietnamese dudes that I went to school with, man. Those were hardcore Raider fans. Couple
and we're internationally beloved. We have so many listeners to our podcast from London, Australia, South America,
Amsterdam, Switzerland.
We got guys. We are our own. We are
Scotland.
Look, few people love America more than me, right? I got an American flag back there, whatever. So I have it. I have a flagpole outside, and it's either Raider flag on flagpole and American flag in the office, or vice versa, right? Like if it's the off season or if the Raiders are disappointing me, I'll switch them, right? These colors don't bleed, baby. I'd love for America to be the Raiders to be America's team.
They're not.
They're not. They are independent of a nation.
Well, the two said we uploaded a video about Maxx Crosby born to be a Raider, and the video of John Matuzak, maybe a little bit chemically altered.
Okay.
And he was saying that they don't like any brown nosers around here. They don't bend over backwards for the league, for the refs, for anybody, and that's kind of encapsulates what it is to be a Raider. We're gonna do our thing our way, unapologetically. We're not gonna bend down, and kiss the ring of anybody, commissioner, anybody. We're gonna do our own thing, and that's it. If you don't like it, like John Madden said, yeah, we're dirty. What are you gonna do about it? We're gonna do our thing, and that's that. Your job is not to tell us what to do. Your job is to stop us.
America's team, I feel like, needs to be a little bit more universally liked, a little bit more, not goody two shoes. That's not America, but a little more like universally enjoyed, not overly offensive. You know what I mean? Just, I feel like that should be, it'll have an edge to it. You know what I mean? Can't be like the 49ers or something.
Probably the Patriots until they started losing a bunch and until Kraft got caught in that rub and tug.
Yeah.
I think it might be the freaking, I hate to say it, but it might be the,
Chiefs. Taylor Swift's now involved.
Swift up in there.
It's getting really America-y.
Stupid.
And the coach is just looks like a walrus, just talks about eating cheeseburgers and wears like Hawaiian shirts. Like it's
I'd eat a cheeseburger with Andy Reid. I'd sit down and eat a cheeseburger with him.
I put a lot of jalapenos in it, so he gets diarrhea when he's trying to play.
Oh man, that just reminded me of something that I didn't want to remember. Okay, so I brought one of those breakfast croissants, right? Those like ham, egg, and cheese and jalapeno breakfast croissants. Delicious. I love them.
Stop it.
So I'm eating it, right? I'm like, man, there's like one jalapeno in this freaking thing, and this is a freaking ripoff, right? And I take my last bite of the last little corner, and that's where all the jalapenos got stuck in like the bottom corner of it. And I didn't even look. I just took a bite. It was like just a mouthful of jalapeno, which is not terrible. It's spicy, but it's not bad. But yeah, that reminded me that you said jalapenos.
All right. Well, that's it for us. We will not be doing a live breakdown of Raiders Dolphins because we did it here. But if there is breaking news, if there is giant changes, we will jump on it as we always do.
As we always do.
But we will be doing a post-game show. As always, it'll be an early one, right? It'll be like 1:30 West Coast time, right after the 10 a.m. game. Again, West Coasters. So if there's nothing between now and then, we'll see you then. And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.